Welcome, Lionel. Thank you for.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Francesco, for having me here. So this is probably way too many slides, way too much information. We'll see what we can cover, and at times we'll see if we can have time just to have some sort of like an informal talk. Who's familiar with DADA? Oh, I'm gonna try. Sorry, I lost my voice. Who's familiar with DADA? The spirit of DADA. No? Yes?
Yes.
A little bit? Okay.
It's like absurdist or satirical.
Yes, satirical.
DADA jokes.
Yes. Spirit of contradiction, spirit of art, but anti-art as well. And
Yeah, you click on it. Yeah.
here we go. Okay, so Dada was not just an artistic movement, was also a cultural movement. And there was a French author, André Breton, who even went as far as saying it was first and foremost a state of mind. Okay, so it's not just an artistic movement, but also a cultural movement. Okay, artistic, literary, going over a wide range of art forms and disciplines, and also making them basically work together to go and invent something that would push the limits. Okay. So European avant-garde movement, even though regionally, even though it began in Zurich, Switzerland, 1916, that's right smack in the middle of World War I. Okay, Zurich, Switzerland, neutral city, a good place for refugees or people who seek to escape war. And it ended in 1923, which is which is a very short amount of years. However, the movement was very influential later on throughout the post-war era, and it still lives now. It still has influences. So it began in Zurich in 1916 and ended basically at the end of 1923, let's say 1924, with the rise of surrealism. A lot of members of DADA actually decided to join the surrealist movement. There was a proto-DADA center in New York City with French artists and big ones, Picabia and Marcel Duchamp, along with American artists, that basically there was a loose group of people, but they shared the same preoccupations, concerns, and had somehow made allegiance to DADA in their own way. So we talk about the proto-DADA center in New York. World War I, France, Germany, absolute hatred between the two countries. However, Germany was a very, very important center for DADA activities. And as early as 1917, the end of 1917, 1918, you had a primary center of DADA activities in Berlin, Germany, followed by other cities like Cologne, Hanover, and right after World War I, a lot of DADA artists, some of them had actually been very, very active in Zurich, decided that Paris was the place to be. And you have offshoots of these movements in other European cities, but we need to keep it somehow. I mean, these were the main, centers. Okay, so this is the Cabaret Voltaire in Zurich, German-speaking part of Switzerland. The activities that went on in Zurich only lasted roughly, 2 years, 2.5 years. At the end of 1918, you can say that the birthplace of DADA emigrated somewhere else, namely Germany, France, while it was still very active in New York City. Okay, so the founders, one of the most important names is Hugo Ball. So he was a poet primarily. His companion, Amy Hennings, was an artist, a poet, dancer. And there was a flock of refugees, coming from the eastern part of Europe, the Austrian-Hungarian Empire. Obviously, Germans seeking tranquility and safe place. So the cabaret's main activities were basically, this was a special place. It was a cross between cultural center and what you would call a cabaret with risque genre. However, Hugo Ball decided to accept whoever was worthy of interest artistically to be exposed. So even though these people were not necessarily Dada, there are some influential avant-garde movements like the Futurists. So the name is familiar, at least to Dr. Fidele. Marinetti was exposed there. There were also expressionists. So you have basically, along with Amy Hennings and Hugo Ball, Romanians. One name to remember, Tristan Tzara. He speaks English, French, Romanian. Marcel Yanko is an artist. Tristan Tzara is probably a poet and a promoter, propagandist. He likes to promote events. A polemist as well. You have obviously Germans. Richard Rosenbeck, who is a poet and is very interested in psychology and psychoanalysis. So it's the beginning of Freud is getting very popular. And last but not least, a French-German artist. His name is Jean-Marc Pensard. His wife Sophie, they met at Cabaret Voltaire and eventually married. So the primary activities, artistically speaking, was like spoken word, dance, music. And like I said, everybody was worthy of interest in terms of being an avant-garde artist at a place. And as you can see, big names, Kandinsky, Berkeley, Chirico, Max Ernst. Dada likes manifestos. But these manifestos are not, they claim to be very ideological, but there were so many of them published that they kind of end up canceling each other out. Okay, so the first one was predominantly artistic. Tristan Tzara, 2 years later, we write also an influential manifesto. Problem is, he's going to write 5, 6 more after that. So You have to be cautious about these words. They are poets too. They like to contradict themselves. Okay. Three big names in New York City. Picabia, French. Marcel Duchamp, they want to escape war. New York is quite a place. You have a German immigrant. Her name is, she's better known as the Baroness, Elsa von Freytag-Loringhoven. They're going to meet art patrons, the Arenberg's family, connoisseur of fine arts, modern art, into avant-garde. They're going to help them settle in New York, make connections in the art world, New York City, and provide food, shelter, money, a lot of money sometimes. Very generous people, but are connoisseurs. Among the leading, American artists, basically, if there are three, you need to remember. Yes, we talk about Duchamp, Picabia, but also Man Ray. I don't know if the name is familiar to you. He's going to be an important figure of the Dada movement. And after World War I, the two French artists will go back to Paris and they will bring Man Ray with them. Among their various activities, you have basically publications. To think about it, it's the development of the printing, photography, and if you want to dispatch your ideas, spread them out, you need reviews. So there's a big activity around reviews, so various publications with funny names: The Blind Man, Wrong, New York Dada. And these artists, such as Duchamp, Picabia, Man Ray, they start being exhibited. The big year for America is 1913, the Armory Show, where basically American art is somehow very provincial. And you have all these avant-garde movements from Europe that basically are going to trigger kind of like emulation among the American, within the American art scene. And they need, and the Armory Show allowed that. 4 years later, there was the so-called Society of Independent Artists, where Duchamp was very active. And the idea is like, we really don't like established institutions. We need a society of artists that is independent. Okay. Well, the independence is also a key word for Dada. If you're going to tell me, what was the rule of Dada? Honestly, I would say number one, there's no rule really. Okay? So this kind of anarchistic tendencies are important. So then there are art historians. They argue, okay, should we consider that Dada New York a proto-Dada movement or an integral part of the Dada movement? This is unimportant. Yes, you can consider that. It's undisputed that now, New York was a very important regional center of Dada. Yeah. There are little differences in terms of what these regional groups are focusing on. Zurich, theater, performance, a lot of literary works, poetry. Paris was very also centered around literature and also the so-called soirée, something akin to what you would call now happenings. So there were programs with, for instance, theater plays. You really never know what will happen. And that was the idea about these Parisians organizing these soirees. They would exhibit works, but they would also say, let's play this avant-garde theater play. We're not actors. We don't know our lines. See what happens. The shock value of it. Let's see how this the audience is gonna respond. So Germany was more political. Think about, I mean, the million of casualties, French, I mean, each side separating, I mean, France from Germany. You have the end of the German Empire looming, and on the other hand, you have the rise of the Weimar Republic, a bourgeois republic, and the what binds all these artists politically, they are left, far left, or anarchists, nihilists. They like Marx. They don't like the bourgeois. They don't like the aristocrats. And they are very aware that this needs to be changed. This needs to change in their minds. Now, are we doing this? So you will have, I mean, different centers. Berlin. Some artists basically were affiliated with other avant-garde movements. Gross. Then you have, I mean, newer faces: Raoul Haussmann, Anna Hösch, Johannes Bader, and Richard Hülsenbeck, who was in Switzerland, decided to go back to Germany after the activities of DADA Zurich were over. And you can see there was a lot of like political activities through magazines, periodicals, but they also had to show something for it in terms of artistic production. And the very first international DADA fair, which was a success, happened in 1920, and you already had 200 works that were exhibited there. Okay. More short-lived, but you have important artists: Max Ernst, Jean Arp, who also had left, I mean, Zurich. They also, I mean, tried to have, I mean, color, I mean, feel the Dada vibes by organizing an exhibition that was very controversial. Again, the mode was let's create what would be, I mean, something you would say now. Let's create, I mean, a buzz around us, and scandal is the best, I mean, marketing method to promote, to gain visibility and traction in terms of what is being produced. And it wasn't, I mean, it was probably with a certain pleasure that they saw, I mean, the police closing, I mean, the exhibition, because there were slogans that were shocking the bourgeois. In Cologne, there was one man, and his name was Kurt Schwitters. He was not radical enough for the other Berlin Dadaists. He was too poetic, too expressionist for their taste, not radical enough. His aesthetics were more on the expressionist style. The other big, I mean, German avant-garde movement. So this didn't prevent him from creating a Club Dada, but it was basically the only one in Cologne. But in terms of influence, when you remember, I mean, Dada, you will remember his name. Then Paris, well, it's the end of World War I. The promoter of the Zurich DADA activity, Tristan Tzara, basically comes to Paris, and André Breton, who created, wrote the Manifesto of Surrealism, said that they were waiting for him like the Messiah. So they were expecting him to basically boost the Dada Paris scene with his talents of being a promoter. So there were a lot of journals where you would publish artwork, literary works, so le cannibale, littérature. Yes. And you also had the equivalent of the Society of Independent Artists, the Salon des Indépendants in Paris. This is not in the presentation. In your opinion, what caused the demise, the end of Dada as an art movement? We can see that it's very, transnational. Some artists are leaving the Dada Center for another one. What could ruin, the avant-garde movement in terms of cohesion? These people love to attract attention on themselves. Egos, a lot of egos. Okay. And in 1924, Tristan Tzara was the organizer, promoter, publicizing the events, tried his best, but he had against him Tristan Tzara. You had cliques, and it fell off. Also, imagine you have this crazy happening, theater soirees, where everything can happen. If you are a bourgeois, Parisian one, or one from the Weimar Republic in Germany, or what would be your reaction at first? You may have fun, say, oh, they are crazy. But also with time passing by, this was getting repetitive. So less fun. And also, this is the end of the World War I. The climate has changed. Okay, to give you an idea, so that's the first international exhibition, the Dada Fair exhibition in Berlin. Typical gathering of French Dadaists. Yeah. This is Picabia, André Breton, the future creator of the Surrealism movement. And this is one of the rare pictures when you see members of the Dada New York clique. This includes Picabia. Then we came back to France. You rarely see Duchamp in group portraits. Okay. Have you heard the term? A broken face? Okay. So, why Dada? Okay. Yes. The reason why, Dada was happening. Number one, reaction to World War I, okay, to its atrocities, the loss, casualties, the loss of life, unprecedented. Why? The advancements of technology. Yeah. First time you have the mustard gas, machine guns, tanks. The first real war of massive, where you can call it mass destruction is here. Yeah. These artists are leaning to the left. They like Marxism, communism, And as part of their dogma, they are internationalists. Corporations between nations would be transnational. They are against, militarism, bellicism. Look at the map of Africa, 1914. One country is not colonized by a European power, and that's Ethiopia. The rest is colonized by Ethiopia, by European powers. So the way of explaining, this reaction was that basically the DADA movement believed war was just confirming the degradation of the social structures of the bourgeois, aristocratic, Western, enlightened society. And by a plague, according to them, the plague of nationalism. That was fueled also by colonialist interests. Corruption, especially, among German Dadaists, was an issue with the emerging, Weimar Republic. We're in 1914. A lot of people say that the 20th century starts in 1914. Dada rejects what had made, Europe great, according to this line of thought. The Enlightenment, reason, logic, the cult of progress. And Dada rejects this progress, not for them. Okay? Not for them. This is an excess of rationality. They don't reject technology, they embrace technology for the sake of experimenting, as far as art is concerned. They have their doubts as to how do you use that technology and what are the possible ramifications of mechanization, industrialization, mechanization.
You need to move the cursor. Okay, good.
Yeah. Okay. Another key factor is the dissent or the revolt against the bourgeois political order. Okay. Social, cultural norms, value system, conservatism, colonial politics, corruption, materialism, the beginning of consumerism, and a certain rigidity, intellectual rigidity and conformity among the aristocratic classes and the new emerging industrial bourgeoisie. The artistic realm. You had an art movement at the end of the 19th century that is often referred to as art for art's sake, aestheticism, claims that basically you can value a work of art that is by its beauty. Yeah. Academicism. Give you an example in France, Ingres is one of them, where basically, beauty obeys to certain codes, formal, conventional rules, traditions, art, literature, poetry. They also reject and attack the establishment. What is the establishment? The art critic, the academic juries, those who are going to be your judges, and museums, the traditional museum. Just going to go, quickly through this. So, artistically, thematically, culturally, yes, Dada has basically initially been influenced by some European avant-garde movements, or they have affinities, and sometimes you have a lot of artists that basically were part of two concurring, movements. Cubism is a big advancement for modern art, embracing modernism, abstract art, and the idea that you need to experiment. So I just, listed some techniques that DADA was aware of, try to use and push further or transform. Okay, so you have the collage. You have the fusing of the past and the present. You have planar composition, where you want to abolish perspective, multiple view perspectives. The idea that you can also make composite artworks with called assemblage, three-dimensional, and you need to something that is totally overlooked. 1916 is basically the influence of non-Western cultures, except by Cubism. Okay, Cubist work with the African, have a depth, towards African art. Okay, Futurismo, Italian Futurism, but also Russian Futurism. So futurists are fascinated with the machine imagery. They like propaganda art, typography, manifestos. So the DADA will make plenty of a good use of that. And as far as poetry is considered, you have this slogan. One of the essential slogans of the futurists is basically words in freedom. Okay, liberated words. They have developed an interesting type of poetry called bruitiste. Bruit in French means noise, and you use onomatopoeia. So already, we're in 1914, a lot of writers everywhere, especially in France, but not just in France, have tried to destroy syntax with free verses, as a compositional, principle. And the futurists, want to go further. They're not interested in the sentence structure, syntax, word structure, but they go as far as sounds, phonemes. There is less influence from the German expressionist. It's less important than Cubism and Futurism. But let's say that Zurich, the Cabaret Voltaire has been influenced by theater and dance performance. And there's also a movement that started actually 5 years before, constructivism, where there's a share, basically, this is shared by all of these movements, the idea that you really have to look harder and reflect, on modern industrial society, and how do you reflect it as well? These avant-garde movements are not interested in what is decorative. They want abstract art. They want to abolish the distinction between high and low, which is a key feature of modernism. So graphic design is a nice way also to promote and also to, yes, to be a vehicle for spreading your art. Okay, too late. Do you speak Russian? Oui. Oui? Da? Something, what have you noticed so far? Cubism, futurism, what are these avant-garde movements? I mean, shortened isms. Okay, there's one exception. Dada, futurism, pointillism, vorticism. You have 10 more. Okay. Yes, precisionism, pointillism, etc., etc. Who named them? Who coined the terms? Art critics? Retroactively? Yes. Whereas, I mean, Dada is the only avant-garde movement that basically escaped this fate. And we don't know exactly how it happened. So, common story, the poet, intellectual, I mean, and Wilson Beck slid a paper knife letter opener at random in a dictionary, and it landed on the word Dada. Okay. What is a Dada in French? It's literally a rocking horse, Dada, or the horse. And it also means by extension, it's my passion, my hobby. Okay. Yanko and Sarah are Romanians. They speak together. When they speak together, they like to talk Romanian. So yes, yes, Dada in Russian, but especially in Romanian. Jean Harpe wrote that Tristan Tzara invented the word at 6 p.m. on February 6, 1916. Sounds good to you? Sounds made up to me. Yeah. Café La Terrasse in Zurich. And I don't know, I should, I had 3 children, but Dada is very much reminiscent of the first word a baby will utter. Okay? Mama, Dada. Da also is this certain, I mean, equilibrium that could evoke, if you're a theorist of feminism, an equality between women and men. And actually, if you compare, I mean, this avant-garde with other avant-garde movements, there were quite a lot of women involved in the activities. And the most recent researches have re-evaluated the role, the impact of women that are women artists inside this movement. I like the last one. So speculation about the paternity and the origins of the name. There are more languages than 5 or 6, and in these other languages, it doesn't mean much, or it doesn't mean anything. And Dada artists said, sounds good to me. Well, an internationalist movement, we want to be transnational, we want to be, it's a form of universality in a way. Okay. There are so many characteristics.
25 minutes left.
25 minutes.
20 minutes, yeah.
We're gonna do, okay, I'm gonna go super fast. Eclectic, interdisciplinary, we okay? There's one thing Dada doesn't like among art forms, or they want to move on, go past that. It's basically traditional painting. Traditional painting. Marcel Duchamp wants the art to be non-retinal. So he wants a new form of reception. Basically, he wants to go in what he called the verbal region. So he's going to use a lot of puns in association with the artistic work he's carrying out. same thing, very little painting. Very little painting, and you cannot consider that, I mean, painting anymore. This has to do with mixed art, where you combine more than one genre and more than one technique. Okay, iconoclastic, parodic, satiric, playful. You know these people? Rembrandt, Rembrandt, Dutch master, yes. Renoir, the leader of the Impressionists. Cézanne, the one that basically, I mean, a lot of them think is pre-Picasso. He is bridging tradition with avant-garde. For Picabia, Naturemort in French is a pun on still life. You have a stuffed, I mean, a stuffed monkey, a toy. These iconic figures are dead. Okay? So, tabula rasa, clean cut in terms of like, painting is dead to us. You recognize her? What did Marchand, Marcel Duchamp do to her? Yes, he added a mustache. He also made a very bad pun, I will not translate, that has, I mean, sexual innuendo, indicating that Mona Lisa has libido. Okay? LHOO. So this is a reproduction of a postcard. So the idea behind that, we are poking fun at the icons of art. And this is Max Ernst as a young man. What do you think of the title? The punching ball or the immortality of Buonarroti? Who is Buonarroti? As
Michelangelo.
Michelangelo. So you have an anatomic, I mean, figure, the top of a dress. Who seems to be the giant? The young Max Ernst? Young and arrogant? Okay, that's the spirit of DADA. Irreverent, very irreverent. In terms of what can you tell about the colors? Very little colors. It's very DADA is very monochromatic. Beautiful, ugly, beside the point. What do you think of this? Anything goes. Is that painting? No, it's what you would call Dada painting. Not much painting in the Dada, I mean, body of work. Okay, irrational, paradoxical, nonsensical, absurdist. Yes. Basically, what are they doing? They are trying to put these characteristics are opposing what has been the dominating ideology, that of progress, reason, logic, absurdist, nonsensical. Puns are important in Dada's art. Subversive, nihilist, self-contradictory. Yes, the importance of shock art. The importance of saying that one thing and its opposite, and they will cancel each other out. Experimenting in conjunction with letting chance can be an accident, can be a contingency, can be an improvisation, can be anything random, be an integral part of the creative, the guiding principle for creation. Is it a principle? It's not even a principle, right? But let it happen. Also, we assimilate, classical art with names, okay? Rembrandt, Dutch master, Da Vinci, Renaissance master, okay? The Dada clique, the Dada, artists, they like to collaborate. There's one painting actually by Picabia where he had to undergo an eye surgery, and what he was, he just, made a collage, a little bit of gouache, and had basically each of his Dada friends come up with whatever they wanted, a drawing or a message. So, well, who's the author? It's authored Picabia. And a short definition of anti-art, art that challenges the existing accepted definitions of art. Okay. And that's short but loaded in a way. Yeah. So if we are tired of the bourgeois aristocratic capitalistic society, we need to challenge social, cultural, and aesthetic norms. Okay. So the main goal, shock in French, shock le bourgeois. I want to shock, confuse, and outrage people. That's part of that as a task. So very the more controversial we are, the better we'll get traction. Okay, that's can be said for a lot of avant-garde, but not as drastically as Dada, destroy traditional values. So we go back to the anti-art, okay? Destroy traditional values, new art, to replace the old. That's the way to, it's not just a game changer, it's tabula rasa. And despite the playful aspects of Dada, you want people to question, reconsider what the environment in which they live. Express nonsense, irrationality, yes. You reject, logic, reason. You express nonsense. And don't forget, also we have the emergence of psychoanalysis, the unconscious. Can that be a catalyst, a new vector? As an art object in the field of artistic research. How can we? And that's not really what Dada is about. That's more what surrealism is about, exploring the unconscious through artistic means. Yes. Question the role of the artist. Okay, so we see that with the ready-mades and anti-art. You want to challenge artistic norms, yes. Question the role of the artist. Okay.
10 minutes.
10 minutes. Dada in poetry, sound poems. Okay. Sound poetry. You want to listen to it? This is a poem called Caravana and Elephant Caravan in Yeah, when I'm reading the first lines. Gaji beribimba, gaji beribimba, glandridi laula loni kadori. Gajama grama berida bimbala grandi. Like it?
Yeah.
Do you? Hello man, le fita, luminal, o minuskao, baumbala bunga. Okay? So, the sound poems, I mean, have already, originated in the futurist, intent to render the trauma of war with a futurist type of sound poetry. Here, the Dadaists want to focus on the phonemes. They want to replicate the experience of speaking in tongue. Okay. And they won't manage to do that. And if you see, this poem, so it was called a simultaneous poem. So they take the idea of having, superimposing, three voices in different languages, French, German, English, while playing a siren whistle, a rattle, and a bass drum. Okay. So you had different lines of text that were read by different performers at the same time. What would be the effect? Cacophony. Okay. I have embedded all the contrast is interesting between you have basically the lyrics, you have a perfectly legible score with what each of them is supposed to recite, and the end product is sound, multiple sound poems that basically end up in a cacophony. So the experience is still novelty, for the new audiences. And it ends with l'amiral n'a rien trouvé, the admiral found nothing, which is sad, bleak, but at the same time, it's the only thing you understand when you listen to these 2 or 3 minutes of simultaneous poetry. So it's also a comment. The admiral is looking for a house to rent. This was played in the middle of World War I. So publicly to comment on the fact that these soldiers, this military hierarchy, will have to pay for their sins. So poetry, so we'll have to move on. To make a Dadaist poem, an how-to genre. Take a newspaper, take some scissors, choose from this paper an article, the length you want to make your poem, cut out the article. Next, carefully cut out each of the words that make up this article and put them in a bag. Shake gently. Next, take out each cutting one after the other. Copy consistently in the order in which they left the bag. The poem will resemble you. And there you are, an infinitely original author of charming sensibility, even though even though unappreciated by the vulgar herd. Okay, a lot of irony. Yes. Do you think you could make one? Everyone. Yes, everyone could. Is there something mean about this poem, though? You just hope, I mean, you won't be part of the vulgar herd if everybody's doing that. Yet, this was a technique actually that worked really well for literature. Some of you may have read, I mean, William Burroughs. Yes? The Ticket That Exploded? Or, okay, so a beat writer, he applied a technique that is very similar to the cut-up technique, okay, where basically you that involves, I mean, cutting up a finished and fully linear written text, and you rearrange it to create a new one. Organizing principle, chance. Yes.
Even giving like rules to someone to do something, wouldn't that be against the very meaning of Dadaism? Like to basically tell you how to do something would be maybe.
Yes. The enigmatic line is like the poem will resemble you. You need to take him, I mean, seriously. Will the poem resemble you, really? Or will it probably be something that has nothing to do with you? There's a lot of irony. Here you are, an infinitely original author of charming sensibility. Okay, so don't take him too seriously either. But there's this idea, I mean, abolition between low and high art. Do I need skills to do to compose a Dadaist poem? I think it's replaced a lot by chance randomness. All right, phonetic poetry. Here we're just talking about phonemes and how they can be put together. So here we don't have time for this, but Schwitters, so in Hanover, he started, I mean, to compose, I mean, sound poetry, and he was influenced by another Dada important figure, Aulos Mann, who had German, so FMSPW, but in German that would be and it started, I mean, it has a very precise, I mean, organization, and you have 40 minutes of this, or sonata. All right, photo montage, photo collage. Do we have time for this? I can't believe it.
Another 5 minutes.
Another 5 minutes.
No,
Okay.
because the pizza, they already
Oh, the
downstairs.
pizza. So the collage. Okay, everybody who is familiar with Cubism will be, I mean, so you have the example, guitar sheet music and glass by Pablo Picasso. You still have, I mean, choice of colors, research for formal beauty. And by contrast, I mean, the Dadaists will try to advance either social comments, critiques, political dissent, or simply shock the person, I mean, viewing at their posters. And it depends on the artist. Some want to shock, some more political and politically conscious. You can see the difference. Mass, BMW, progress, Gall. Yeah. The modern city has entered the collage. This is a famous one, Anna Hush, Indian dancer from an ethnographic museum. Okay. So here we have a Cameroonese mask. You have a picture taken from a magazine, cinema magazine, of France's greatest actress. Her name is Falconetti, and she played in one of the world's, masterpiece of silent film, The Passion of Joan of Arc by Dreyer. Joan of Arc was burned, okay, to the pike. She's French. Anna Hush is German. And the crown is basically made of utensils, forks, knives. In Germany, in the 1920s, 1930s, you have a preconceived notion about the young modern woman, bob hair, bourgeois. Usually she will not work, she will read magazines. And Anna Hush basically is not satisfied with this depiction. Obliquely, she's trying to question the status of women in society. So this is taken from a cinema magazine. However, with my photo montage, I'm obliquely offering you a mirror and say, are you this woman? If you're that bourgeois, I'm not. Yeah. Finish with Howler's man? No?
Another 5 minutes.
Another 2 minutes. You do the work for me. Okay? So photo montage, it's a kind of collage which incorporates photographs, collage and painted elements. Okay? And okay, what is this? And what does it look like? Huh?
Paintbrush?
Paintbrush?
Sword.
Good. Yeah, you have to let the metaphoric part of your brain do the job. Yes, that's could be. I mean, like a sword, a lens, maybe. Look at his glance, his gaze, his eyes. What does that evoke? I mean, to you?
Emptiness.
Emptiness. Do some of you, I mean, perceive, I mean, the glance to be like the one of a blind person? With white stripes around it? No, yes. Think about, I mean, somebody's blind, not wearing, I mean, the glasses. Okay. What comments do you have to do? Do you want to make regarding the mouth? Questioning? Monstrous? What do you find? Do you find that person, I mean, dangerous? ready to arm, ready to attack.
Like a stupid leader kind of thing.
Ah, well, yeah, yeah. Aoul Osman. What happened to Aoul Osman? What happened to this man? Changed, I mean, his gender. This is money. This is shoe, basically, place where the brain is, and smooshing money again. What are your thoughts? There is no truth, I mean, or what is your overall impression?
He hates critics.
Thank you very much. He certainly, I mean, hates critics. Will it destroy him? Her? There's a sharp contrast between the woman, joyful expression, and this kind of like, yes, very, very angry art critic. Okay. And Adid, you can see, I mean, almost looks like he has been, I mean, punctured and maybe poked at with the pencil he's using. Okay, so you have, I mean, the embodiment of the Dada spirit, where basically yes, this is somehow, I mean, disturbing, or when you view that, I mean, for the first time. The iconoclastic irreverence that perspire through the kind of like sarcastic, I mean, sense of humor. And the idea that, yes, the art critic wants to stab me with his pen, his comments, maybe it will get paid for that. It's okay, I can strike back. I don't have the answer, but we are face to face with something that forces us to question the role of the establishment. So, in comparison to other Dada photo montages, other photo montages, Dada is very, very political, ideological, expressing, I mean, dissent, aesthetic, social. And I'm sorry, because I have 35 slices left. So I think
45?
no, 40 slices, and I wanted you to work. So, are we leaving it at that?
Yes, yes,
Very
you know, the pizza advice, we're gonna,
Right.
you know, the meeting.
So we're
was
gonna have, I
about-
mean, Dada happenings, and
So what we
we're gonna
could
do
do now.
Dada poems together.
To the SAB lobby, and there will be the pizza, hopefully they're still warm, Yes, and we'll go all together. Yeah, it's the building adjacent to Maison. So let's go there. Thank you, Lionel.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very nice.
No.
I mean, this is like a lecture of 3 hours.
Yeah,
All of that.
yeah, but I mean, I'll give it to you.
They